Right now, you could pull up a map of any country on Earth in about 3 seconds. France, Brazil, Japan. You'd see every street, every shop, every bus route. But try North Korea. The roads stop. The labels vanish. Entire cities disappear. You'd assume that's because nobody has the data, that North Korea is too secretive, too isolated, too closed off to be mapped. But that's not what's happening. North Korea has been mapped. The data exists. Satellites can see everything. The government just doesn't let anyone, including its own people, look at it. And the reason has nothing to do with military secrets. Open Google Maps right now, search Pyongyang. You'll see a city, a few roads, a few labels. It looks almost normal. Now search Seoul, the capital of South Korea, just 195 kilometers south. You get everything, every restaurant, every traffic update, every side street named and labeled in real time. You can see how busy a coffee shop is at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Go back to Pyongyang. Gray blocks with no names, wide boulevards leading nowhere, entire districts that simply don't appear. Zoom out. The countryside between cities is almost entirely blank. Roads appear and then vanish. Towns that satellites confirm hold thousands of people show as empty land. You can see the buildings from space. They just don't exist on the map. The rivers are there. The mountains are there. But the human geography, the villages, the markets, the military bases, the prison camps, has been carefully, deliberately erased. Now here's the strange part. This isn't a technology problem. South Korea censors its own maps too. It hides military bases from Google. That's a security decision, a reasonable one, given that it's technically still at war with its neighbor to the north. But North Korea is doing something completely different. North Korea doesn't just hide its map from outsiders, it hides the map from its own citizens. The average North Korean has never seen an accurate map of the country they were born in. Not on a phone, not in a classroom, not in a government office, never. To understand why, you have to rethink what a map actually is. You think of a map as directions, a way to get from one place to another. You open it, you follow the blue line, you arrive. It feels like a tool. But a map is something much more powerful than that. A map is knowledge of where you are. And if you know where you are, you can plan where to go. If you know the roads, you can trace a route. If you know where the border is, you know how far you'd have to run. And if you know where the military bases and prison camps are, you know exactly what your government is hiding from you. North Korea doesn't want its citizens to know any of that. The regime controls every piece of information that enters a North Korean's life. The television shows one channel. The radio plays one station. The internet doesn't exist for ordinary people. There is no Google. There is no social media. There are no foreign newspapers. And maps, the most basic tool humans have ever built for understanding the world around them, are treated as classified military documents. North Korea has one of the longest militarized borders on Earth. The DMZ stretches 250 kilometers between North and South Korea. It's the most heavily armed border in the world. Landmines, razor wire, guard towers every few hundred meters. Soldiers with orders to shoot anyone who crosses. On the northern side of that line, 25 million people live under a government that has spent 70 years making absolutely sure none of them know how close they are to the exit. If you're a North Korean farmer living 30 kilometers from China, your government doesn't want you to know that. The map you're allowed to see, if you're allowed to see one at all, puts China somewhere vague, somewhere far. The actual distance? Walkable in a single night. That distance is classified information. Not because it's a military secret, because it's a freedom one. Citizens are not allowed to own detailed maps. Period. If you're caught with one, that's a criminal offense. Not because the map is wrong, because it's right. Even the maps that do exist inside the country are deliberately distorted. Roads are moved. Distances are wrong. Towns are relabeled or removed entirely. The government publishes maps that look complete but are designed to confuse rather than guide. Think about that. Your government gives you a map that lies to you, and you have no way of knowing it's lying because you've never seen a real one. North Korea doesn't just hide geography from its people, it builds fake geography for everyone else. Visit Pyongyang as a tourist, which is technically possible, though heavily restricted, and you'll see a very specific version of the city. Wide boulevards, grand monuments, clean parks, enormous statues of the Kim dynasty, everything in perfect order. Everything looks impressive, modern, prosperous. But the map the government shows you doesn't match what satellites see from above. Entire neighborhoods are missing. The residential blocks where ordinary citizens actually live, cramped, aging, often without reliable electricity, aren't on any official map. The route your tour bus follows has been designed specifically to avoid them. You're not exploring a city, you're walking through a set. The Rugyong Hotel is a 105-story concrete pyramid in the middle of Pyongyang. Construction started in 1987. It has never opened, not once. When construction stalled, the government removed it from official maps entirely. When construction resumed years later, it reappeared. The building didn't move. The map did. A 105-story building, erased and unerased at will. North Korean maps of the world are stranger still. In government-approved atlases, the United States is shown as small and far away. South Korea is labeled as occupied territory waiting to be liberated. Japan barely exists. Europe is irrelevant, and North Korea sits in the center. Large, prominent. Surrounded by enemies, it has bravely resisted for decades. This is what happens when a government takes control of cartography. The map stops being a tool for navigation. It becomes a tool for narrative. You don't show people where things are. You show them where things should be according to the story you need them to believe. In 2013, a software developer named Curtis Melvin did something the North Korean government had spent decades trying to prevent. He built a map. Using nothing but publicly available satellite imagery, testimonies from defectors who had escaped the country, and years of obsessive cross-referencing, he created the most comprehensive civilian map of North Korea ever assembled. He plotted roads that appeared on no official document. He identified military installations, government buildings, factories, farms, monuments. He traced electricity networks. He found railways that didn't officially exist, and he found the prison camps. North Korea operates a system of political prison camps holding an estimated 120,000 people. The camps had always been visible from space. Satellite images showed massive fenced compounds in remote mountain valleys, guard towers at regular intervals, barracks in grid formations, mining operations with hundreds of workers. They were right there, visible to anyone who looked, but without someone willing to put them on a map, they could be denied. And they were denied, for decades. The North Korean government simply said the camps didn't exist, and because they weren't on any map, the world accepted it. That's what North Korea understood about maps before anyone else did. If it's not on the map, it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, nobody asks questions about it. Melvin changed that. Volunteers around the world joined in. Using Google's MapMaker tool, ordinary internet users traced roads, identified buildings, and slowly filled in the blank spaces the regime had spent 70 years maintaining. One person with a satellite image and a laptop undid decades of geographic censorship. Not with an army, not with a government, with a map. The blank spaces are still there on most maps. But the information exists now. It's public. It's permanent. And once something is on a map, you can't unmap it. Every country in the world uses maps. Most of them use maps to help their people get where they need to go. North Korea uses maps to make sure you never get anywhere at all. The blank spaces on the North Korean map aren't errors. They aren't missing data. They're decisions. Every erased village, every shifted road, every vanished prison camp. Someone chose to remove it. Someone decided you don't need to know it's there. You probably haven't thought about your own map in a long time. You open it, you search an address, you follow the blue line. It feels neutral. It feels like truth. It feels like it's just showing you the world as it is. But every map is a decision about what to show you and what to hide. Your map just happens to show most of it. Theirs was built to make sure 25 million people never understand where they are. Because a government that controls your map controls something more important than your movement. It controls your understanding of what's possible. And if you don't know the exit exists, you'll never look for it.